Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our JustNoMil. In today's episode, Emil's behavior on vacation. Need advice. Emil gave son whole pieces of fruit. Emil thinks I reacted wrong to a tragic event. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Emil's behavior on vacation. Need advice. Throwaway because staying anon. Sorry about length. So recently my family, me, hubby, late 20s, daughter, 7, my parents, 50s, and my Emil, 60s, all went on a vacation together to a famous theme park. The situation with how my Emil acted on the last day has me confused and I don't know what to do about it. Backstory. We went on vacation for 3 days with my parents and Emil. Overall, it was a fantastic trip we all, at least I initially thought, enjoyed thoroughly. A couple of the days the grandparents would all take daughter on the kiddie rides, to do princess activities and such for a few hours while me and hubby rode a few more thrilling rides. They all encouraged us to do this and I thought they were all enjoying the special time and attention with daughter, as when me and hubby were around she tends to stick to us and want to sit with us on rides and hold our hands, etc. Now some background context. This is our first family vacation with both my parents and Emil. They had previously spent many afternoons together and such at dozens of family events and dinners and get along well. Daughter is very attached to my parents as we live in the same city as them and she spends a lot of time with them. Emil lives a few hours away so we see her once every 2 months or sometimes more often. My daughter loves Emil though and talks about her all the time. My dad is very interactive with daughter, talks to her, plays with her. He's just very animated and great with kids. So daughter is particularly fond of him. Other context, daughter slept in Emil's hotel room the first night, and then after that said she wanted to stay in my parents' room for the next couple of nights because my dad would take her to the pool when she wanted to go. Emil was too tired to take her at night. I say this because I think the fact daughter maybe wanted to spend a bit more time with my parents hurt Emil's feelings. Anyways, day 3 of our vacation we were at the theme park all day, and after me and my husband went off on our own for about 3 hours we met back up with everyone else. My dad was on a small ride with daughter while my mom and Emil were sat outside. I asked Emil in a friendly way if daughter enjoyed all the rides they went on and she said, "Oh, I don't know. I think so." Which I thought was a strange response but didn't think much of it at the time. Anyways, we all split up to go get a bite to eat from different food vendors. My hubby tried to call Emil multiple times soon after and tell her we scored a table nearby and she could come sit. She just didn't answer the phone, and we didn't see her for about an hour till she randomly showed up. At this point, my dad and daughter were finally getting off the ride and making it over to us all. Emil seemed fine but a little tired before they showed up and bought some pastries to go at the bakery we were next to. Then as soon as my dad and daughter showed up, her mood instantly shifted to very short, rude, and sharp. Daughter asked her what she had in her box, and she told her some pastries in a rude tone. Daughter was being her usual kid self who's been used to being spoiled for days on vacation, and asked if she could have one. I immediately told her no, that they weren't hers, and that we had other pastries on the table she could have. I could sense I needed to intervene because Emil was obviously in a bad mood. Emil had a rude tone and told daughter, "Well, these are the first words you've said to me all day, so no," then looked away from her with an annoyed face and ignored daughter. Side note, this is not true at all. I literally watched them hang out alone and go in multiple shops, hold hands, etc. But I can't say what happened while I wasn't there. Daughter asked if she could just see what she got cause she was curious. Daughter was being her usual cheery self still, and Emil just ignored her and stared in the distance. Daughter kept repeating please cause Emil just wouldn't answer her, but Emil just continued to stare and ignore her. Daughter got upset and came up to me and hubby and asked us why she wouldn't talk to her or show her, and I didn't even know what to tell her. Everyone at the table was uncomfortable and felt the tension. I just told daughter, I'm not sure honey, but let's do something else, and distracted her with her stuffed animal. We all then proceeded to get up and get ready to head back to the hotel. Emil quickly said I'm going back to the hotel and left us all without saying anything to daughter. Later at the hotel, she came to mine and hubby's room and gave us some of daughter's clothes that were left in her room and told hubby she would be leaving in the morning. I was in the bathroom, but hubby said she was being really rude and acted annoyed. He had to go to her room to get some of daughter's other items she forgot, and Emil was very mad that hubby did that for some reason. We initially rode down with her on the 10-hour trip, but since she left so quickly, we had to squeeze in my parents' car to go home today. Emil initially had planned to come back to our house after the vacation, but we don't know what changed. All she said was she wanted to get home before it was late. All of this communication was said in a very rude and short tone. She was completely not her typical self. She never said bye to daughter or anything. Her last interaction with her, she was incredibly rude and honestly mean to her. I talked to hubby about it and he agreed. He says his mom just gets in bad moods and acts like this, and she's done it his whole life. I've never seen her act this way to our daughter before though. I don't know if something happened while we were gone, but I asked my parents and they said nothing happened and they don't know why she is upset. My mom said maybe she felt like daughter wasn't giving her enough attention because my dad is so animated with her. I think that is the reason for all of this, but I'm not sure what to do about it. I do not feel that my daughter needs to walk on eggshells at the age of 7 and micromanage her actions to ensure her grandmother's feelings don't get hurt about not getting enough attention. I feel that something needs to be said about this because I feel like the vacation ended on a bad note, and I am frankly very upset with how she treated our daughter. But I'm not sure what to say, and if my husband should be the one to talk to her, or if it should be me. Any advice? For future reference, you need to say something in the moment to Emil. It doesn't matter if it starts a fight in front of your daughter. You need to establish this behavior is unacceptable and won't be tolerated. Act like a toddler in front of others, you will get disciplined like one in front of them too. This establishes you will not allow her to treat you or your daughter like this, and she won't be getting away with it just because you're in front of others. That your daughter will be defended when she is acting hostile towards her, and also lets your daughter know you have her back. It also sets the example for your daughter on what she should allow people to do to her, and this is the most important thing for her future relationship with Mil and others. You do need to address the attitude issue. Whether it's you or your husband doesn't really matter. Someone needs to confront her about it. I'm not sure what happened on our most recent vacation, but the way you handled your emotions is unacceptable. If you have a problem with something, you need to communicate using your words, as no one has mind-reading powers to understand why you're upset about anything. The way your temper tantrum morphed into how you treated daughter is unacceptable and will not be tolerated or happen again in the future. You need to apologize to her for the way you treated her, as it was unacceptable and there was no reason for it. We do not punish daughter with emotional manipulation, and there is no excuse in the world that would make this punishment acceptable. You will also not be allowed alone with daughter until we can establish this as a fixed issue instead of ongoing. If it happens again, you will be permanently removed from daughter's life. She got mad when hubby went to her room to get your daughter's things because that's not what was supposed to happen. She didn't give all the stuff back, hoping her manipulation would work. Hubby was supposed to go to her room, be upset because she is leaving, beg and cry for her to stay. She got mad because hubby didn't take the bait and was like, okay. She's jealous and taking it out on your child. I would actually lower contact. She's trying to guilt and manipulate you and your daughter. Unless she gets help managing herself, don't reward her behavior. This absolutely. She thought the focus of the trip was about to shift back to her and her feelings and desires. Maybe you would send your parents away and beg her to stay. She was mad that didn't happen. He says his mom just gets in bad moods and acts like this, and she's done it his whole life. Okay, But that doesn't mean you and your daughter have to put up with that nonsense. I would have a discussion with Emile and let her know that you guys can't read her mind and she needs to use her words if she has a problem. DH should let his mother know that if she is going to treat her granddaughter like this, she will only have supervised visits with her. That is not a punishment, but a reasonable consequence for her actions. Should she protest that she's always been this way, DH can be honest and let her know that this behavior has always been upsetting to him and he will not expose his daughter to it. From what your DH said, it sounds like your MIL has a history of acting like a toddler when she doesn't get enough attention. DH has to be the one to deal with her on this matter. If I were him, I'd tell her that this manipulative behavior of hers has been unappreciated his whole life, but that he didn't rock the boat. But now he sees it hurting his child, and he will not stand for it. He needs to be the one to demand she behave better. I'd also avoid those full family trips in future. Emile gave son whole pieces of fruit. We were at a restaurant and Emile insisted to hold my baby while we got our plates. When I was walking back, my Emile had given my 7-month-old a whole piece of fruit and was letting him suck on it because she thought it would feel good on his gums. She never asked me if it was okay or anything. Then she gave him an even smaller piece he could easily choke on, and I told her I didn't want him to have it. Then she got up and got more bigger pieces and kept trying to give it to him. My husband saw how upset I was getting and even told me he could tell I was getting upset when they got up to get more food, but yet he still didn't say anything. This isn't the only thing she hasn't respected. She was asked multiple times not to kiss our baby, and she still kept doing it right in front of my face and even does it to this day. I also asked her not to put my baby in one of his bouncers because it is very wobbly and doesn't seem like it's safe. I don't put my baby in there. He has different toys to use. I am working on getting rid of it. But she ended up putting him in it anyways. My husband admitted that he has noticed she keeps doing stuff even though she's been asked not to, but he absolutely will not say anything to her and just gets upset when I bring it up and shuts down and goes on about how he hates that his family makes me feel that way. He says he's not mad at me and doesn't blame me for being upset, yet he won't talk to them about it and keeps acting like he is upset with me. I'm at a point where I don't think I'll ever go out to eat with Emile again and want to limit visits even more. But I think my husband is against that idea and always complains that what am I supposed to say to them? I feel pretty stuck and not sure what to even do at this point. You need to take the baby back every single time she crosses a boundary and stop giving her chances to violate the boundaries. Don't let her hold the baby at all. He needs to tell them that both of you, not just you, Opie, don't want your baby to eat XYZ and don't want him to be kissed. It's not that difficult. I hope he can be a man and back you up. You have a serious husband problem? What you tell him is handle it. Because if you don't, I will, and you will not like how I do it. This is your warning. That was what finally worked for me. I'm at a point where I don't think I'll ever go out to eat with Emile again and want to limit visits even more. But I think my husband is against that idea and always complains that what am I supposed to say to them? I feel pretty stuck and not sure what to even do at this point. Yes, you take your child away from her. You leave. You remove your child from these dangerous situations. You behave like the parent you are, not the child she treats you like. Opie, this woman is, in front of your face, putting your child at risk over and over again. It's not a big deal to your husband, which is a shame, but it is to you. So be the parent. Stop putting your child's safety at risk. Emile thinks I reacted wrong to a tragic event. Hi guys. It's been a long time since I've written a post about my Emile. I thought I wouldn't have to, but clearly I was wrong. Usually, I like to be more entertaining with my writing, but this has been bugging me for months and I need to get it out. So here we go. It was 11 at night on August 21st when this started. I, F35, got a heartbreaking message from my mom's useless boyfriend, who I hate. My mom was found unresponsive and was on the way to the hospital. He had no tact and said, "She's dead, honey." Then proceeded to tell me how he watched them work on her in the back of the ambulance and she wasn't coming back. So that set the tone for my night. I stayed up all night and talked to a couple different doctors that said in situations like mom's they usually tell the family to come in to say goodbye. I was told she had a GI bleed. She went into cardiac arrest and it took 45 minutes to get her back. My fiancé did get me to sleep for a couple hours. In the morning, We packed up our 9-year-old and off we went. At this point, I was running on 2 hours of sleep and just nonstop panic because she was life-flighted to a bigger hospital more equipped to help her. I kept telling myself that she survived so much. She's tough. She's a fighter. My fiancé got me to the hospital as fast as he could. We had just pulled into the hospital parking lot when I got a call from the doctor. She told me my mom had little to no brain activity. When I got off the phone, with my world shattered around me, I tossed my phone on the dash and started screaming and sobbing. Skip to a whole day of tears, doctors, shielding our son behind a curtain so he didn't see his grandma hooked up to 6 machines with a ventilator, many phone calls to my mom's best friend, and slowly fading hope. That evening, I made the decision to withdraw care and let her go. It was the first time my son had seen my mom all day. He said goodbye. My fiancé said goodbye. While I was saying goodbye, I could hear my son bawling in the hallway because my fiancé had taken him into a different room to explain what was happening. My fiancé called his dad. He figured since his dad had lost both his parents and I love him to death, he's the perfect person to help me. His dad did help and make me feel a bit better, and I could tell he was emotional too. Unfortunately, my fiancé had to tell his mom because she FaceTimed him and noticed the hospital vibe. He explained what happened, and she had some harsh comments about how I reacted to learning my mom was brain dead. She made it seem like having to make the decision to pull the plug was no big deal. She lost her mom. Circumstances were different, but she knows the pain of losing a parent, but she couldn't even put her dislike for me aside and empathize. She also had a village worth of people to help her through the loss. I'm not close to 99% of my family, and the family I did have died 19 years, 12 years, and 4 years. She was upset my fiancé called off work and was upset the next day when he came home early from work because he didn't want to leave me alone. I was grieving, plus it was also our son's first day of school. So double whammy for me. It's been almost 7 months since this happened, and I have checked out of whatever relationship I had with her. Everything is very surface level. She's kept about 3 arm lengths away. I know this was long, and if you made it through all of that, I appreciate it. I needed to get this out so I could hopefully let go of that anger. You're right to keep her at arm's length. Just because she felt it was no big deal does not mean it was no big deal for you. Even the tiniest amount of empathy on her part would have helped her realize that. And in the end, if she ever does say anything about it, have a practiced phrase ready for a reply. In my head, it goes like this. On what was the worst day of my life, you had an opportunity to show a little respect and empathy for what I was going through. You chose not to. Everyone reacts differently to tragic events, and for me, it was earth-shattering. The fact that you could not recognize that tells me everything I need to know with respect to how you feel about me. Perfect response. Your ML is an asshole, and you be well within your rights to never speak to her again. I'm so sorry for your loss and the trauma around it. The title breaks my heart. There is no wrong reaction to tragedy. I get criticized for sometimes being stoic during trauma, and people assume I'm unfeeling, but it's the only way for me to keep it together. Other times I collapse because I know people will support me emotionally. I'm glad your husband and FL were there for you. Your ML is cruel and cold-hearted. I hope time and love help you to heal. When someone can't even be decent to you on a horrific day, you keep them at length. For very good reason. She is cold and heartless. Even people we don't like usually get some commiseration when something like this happens. Her behavior is bizarre. She is not your friend and doesn't have your back. I sure hope your DH told her to stay in her own lane and he can handle his own family without her negativity. She had a chance to be your hero and she blew it. Keep her at arm's length. X1 000 She doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as you. I am so sincerely sorry for your loss. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.